my thought process is, that free product will bring them back to my website where I have some other overlays that do cost.
Hello creators, welcome to another episode of Careers 2.0. You know those video overlays that make your clips look burned or retro, vintage? Well, someone has to create them, and today we're talking with a guy that does and who makes pretty good money doing so. David is a professional videographer and editor, and he built his business around video overlays. And he built it on YouTube without personal brand, something we talk quite a lot about on this podcast. It's great to talk with someone who is so excited and supportive also of this podcast. I hope you'll enjoy it as much as I did. So let's jump right in. Here's David. Hi, David. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
David, can you tell us a little bit how you got, first of all, maybe into the film business in general rather than the online products?
Yeah, so I've been interested in film for a long time. It started when I was a kid. My family bought one of those big home video cameras with the big VHS tapes, and that's how I started, and I had a lot of fun. And of course, we still have a lot of home videos of little me, playing with the video camera. So I think that's probably how it started. As I got older, I just did video as a hobby. And then I had a friend ask me if I would shoot their wedding video. And that was the first time, anybody had asked me to do anything like that, kind of more on a professional level. And so that was kind of nerve-wracking, but I did it. And I thought it turned out horrible because it was my very first wedding video I'd ever done. But they seemed to be pretty happy with it. So after I did their wedding video, a few more friends saw it and they started asking me. So then I got into wedding videos quite a bit. And that was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun. And again, it was just getting to, play with video and edit video and everything. And then I kind of moved into working at a news station, a TV station. So then I got to work with video and editing there as well, and that was a lot of fun, and that's what I still do today. Full-time for my full-time job is work at a TV station.
Can you tell us a bit about the split, how it looks these days, or how much time do you spend on your day job and how much time creating for online sales?
Yeah, so like I said, it's a full-time job, so I work 40 hours a week, and I've still got a family and 3 kids and a wife and everything, so I still have to split it with that. But working with, I guess, my side hustle with Sellfy, like it's maybe I spend about 2 or 3 hours a week working on that. So it's not a whole lot of time. But that's how I like it. I mean, I don't have time to spend a lot of time working on that, so I do enjoy that it's just about 2 or 3 hours every week. And I'm pretty happy with how things are turning out with it.
Are you okay sharing what does translate to in terms of money? Like if you, for those 2 and 3 hours per week, how much revenue are you able to generate in those in a week?
Yeah, it's hard to, because it fluctuates so much, and I can't really put like an amount on how, converting to hours, but about each month I've been making, anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 a month. But again, that fluctuates. So,
all right. So on average, $500 per couple hours of work. Doesn't sound too bad.
It's been really helpful, to pay stuff off and just to kind of pursue other things in life. So,
okay. So how did you get into creating online products?
Yeah, it was kind of, it's funny how it happened. So I've had a YouTube channel forever, just uploading, funny videos, just random videos. There was really no focus or vision on that YouTube channel. But I had always, went online, went on Google and searching for film effects for how to make digital video look more like film. And so I felt like I had got a lot of information from the filmmaker community, but I never really gave back to them. So I wanted to do something that would kind of give back to that community. So I made these, my first set of film burn overlays. They were transitions, and I uploaded them to YouTube, just kind of, as a thank you. And that was it. I just uploaded it. I didn't really think much about it, after that. But then somebody commented on there, and he said, and I actually because this is what started it all. So I printed off that comment and I framed it. It's actually hanging up here on my wall, but it says, if he said, "You're seriously a lifesaver. If you ever take donations, then please let me know." And so that kind of set off a little light bulb in my head. I was like, wow, somebody would actually be willing to pay money for something like this. So then, I made a few more, and then it was a matter of trying to figure out, how to set up a web page, where people could actually buy it and pay money for it and everything. But that's how it officially started, is from that one comment from just some random YouTuber who decided to comment on that one video that I made. So that's how it all started.
When was it?
So that comment was in 2018, so a few years ago. But I after that comment, I made a web page where they could buy it and everything, and I just let it sit there for about a year or so, like not really putting much effort into pursuing that anymore. But then once I saw people started to actually purchase things that I made, purchase the overlays, then that's when I actually started to focus more on it and to start pursuing that more. So probably about a couple of years ago now is when I've actually started really working at it and focusing on doing more with it.
Interesting that you mentioned putting those overlays up for sale and collecting money on it. But I also know that most of your stuff is actually free. Why?
Yeah.
If this is sort of like a money-making, effort, why so much is free?
Sure. Yeah. And I could be totally wrong. Like, all this is new to me, like the marketing and everything. So, but it's worked for me so far. So I figure I must be doing something right. I'm sure there's things I could tweak and do better. But my thinking is, I wanted to, because I got so much for free, from the filmmaker community. Like, I want to provide free stuff to them. And so a lot of what I do make, I do still upload to YouTube, once a week, and I do make it free, because I do want to help them. But also, my thought process is, that free product will bring them back to my website, where I have some other overlays that do cost, some money. And so hopefully the free stuff will bring them back, and maybe they'll want to spend some money and purchase some other overlays that I've made.
So that leads me to another question, is how you come up with your next product. Is it just experimentation and fun, or you have some system for that?
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of just experimentation. And it's kind of funny. Here lately, I've kind of thought of it more of like art, because I really don't have a great idea for one. I just know I need to make something new, make something different that doesn't look the exact same as all the other overlays that I've made. And so a lot of it is just starting with a blank canvas and just kind of building on that and using different colors and just, I feel like, I know that what overlays have sold better, what people have commented on that they like. And so I know kind of the look that I'm trying to go for. And so it's kind of a fun process, just kind of starting from scratch and just kind of putting something together and seeing what looks good.
Can you talk a little bit about the process? Because for me, not a filmmaker, I have no idea what goes into making an overlay at all. And I would be very interested to learn a bit.
It's not glamorous. Usually how it starts is I will go into just a dark room. Usually it's my bathroom, because there's no lights in there. Just have a camera set up on a tripod. I take the lens off of the camera, and I just sit there with a flashlight and just kind of shine the flashlight into the camera body. I'll try different light sources, like a candle, or sometimes I'll take a crystal glass that has different patterns on it and shine a light through it. So it gets different neat light effects and everything. And so that's kind of the base of how I start. And then I'll bring that into After Effects and start adding, different effects and add different colors and add multiple overlays to that and everything. But yeah, that's how it starts. Just me in a bathroom with a flashlight shining it,
Very glamorous art.
Yeah. Yeah.
But okay, so what would you say is the reason why you got over 100,000 downloads? Is it because you have so many different overlays, or because they are such high quality, or because nobody else does what you do?
I think it's just because there's not I don't have a lot of competition. There are a few people out there that do make film overlays and everything. But whenever I started, I didn't know, and I still don't know a whole lot about, marketing and, SEO optimization and all that. But I knew that one sure way I could get my stuff out there, like on YouTube, is to just make so much of it that whenever somebody searched on YouTube, film overlay or light leaks or whatever, like YouTube would have no choice but to show my overlays that I've made, just because I was going to make so many of them. I wanted my stuff to just flood the search results of YouTube. And so I think that's where that all came from. And I think that's why, people do use it, just because I don't give other people much of a chance for their stuff to show up on YouTube. So yeah, whenever you search something on YouTube, you're for sure going to see, 3 or 4 or 5 results of my overlays that I've made.
You mentioned that this is like a couple hours per week of work.
Yeah.
And of course, making something more out of it would take much more work. Would you like that it becomes your like full-time gig and you can quit your day job, or no, you would just like it to be something more, but not to replace the stuff that you do, which you enjoy?
Yeah. Oh, I would absolutely love to do this full time, because I do have a lot of, new ideas that I want to try. And I do want to put more time and more effort into making the overlays. I know I could make them, not that they're bad right now, but I know I could make them a lot better than what they are. All my life, I've always wanted to work for myself or have my own business and everything. So yeah, I would love to eventually, do this full time, be able to quit my current full-time job right now and just focus everything on creating these overlays and expanding it a little bit more, offering more things to people. So I would absolutely love to do that. Yeah.
Is there anything you do right now in order to get there? Any plan that you have in place?
I mean, every time I make one, I try new things, hoping that the new thing I try is going to increase sales a little bit more, or, expand my audience a little bit more and everything. So it's nothing that I'm doing just like, right now that's just going to blow it up, but I feel like it's just baby steps getting there. I have gotten to the point where I've started to make just about as much as I do as my full-time job. But it's, it is scary, it's scary to jump ship, knowing that you consistently get a paycheck from your job every week, versus to working for yourself and just hoping that the sales are going to continue. It's a scary thing, especially when you've got a family and kids to raise.
Do you have some threshold that if you reached it, that would be the moment, some agreement maybe with your wife?
Yeah. I've got a number in my head that, if I ever start hitting that number consistently, for a few months, then yeah, I'll quit my job. Yeah.
Can you share that number?
Yeah, it's $3,000 a month.
Okay. So
yeah.
So that's close to what you're getting right now. It's not that big of a growth curve that you need to be on in order to actually achieve that, right? So
right.
Have you found any of those baby steps that you're doing that work maybe better? Some that you observe that seems to be working well if I post more often, or if my videos are longer, or anything like that could get you there?
So I haven't really seen anything like for sure that works. As I try to post, or I do post every week on YouTube. And so obviously that's making, my subscriber count go up. I'm getting closer. Right now I'm sitting at 38,000 subscribers. So I would like to hit that 100,000 subscriber mark. I feel like the more subscribers I have, the more traffic will go to my website and resulting in more sales. So that is, I guess, my goal right now, is just trying to grow that subscriber base to get more traffic to the website to make more sales. I know this year I've kind of made it a goal to learn more about email marketing, because you read a lot about email marketing and how effective it is and how that can really help us with, sales and everything. But that's something I'm not real knowledgeable about. So that's something I'm wanting to look more into and figure out that. So hopefully that'll help me get more towards my goal of quitting my job eventually too.
Do you have an email list right now?
Yeah, I do. So with Sellfy, every time somebody downloads a product, whether it's free or paid, that product gets emailed to them. So they have to put in their email address. So I do have a big, email list. I don't know what to do with it. So.
All right. Well, you have a list of your customers. It doesn't matter if they download for free or they paid money. They are your customers, right? So
right.
Have you ever tried to use that list to sell another product that you release?
I have. Yeah. And it's really random. I'll just send out an email. And of course you can select, which email addresses you want it to go to. Do you want to send this email to people who just downloaded the free stuff? Do you want to send the email to people who, actually paid for a product? So I have sent out emails, and I think every time I've sent one out, it's just kind of to announce a new overlay that I've made. And it works. I get maybe 2 or 3 people who, respond and actually go and buy that product. So it's not, in my mind, it hasn't been a huge success, but I mean, it does work a little bit. But I know it could be better.
I have a question that may not feel related, but I think it kind of is. So when you are creating your videos, I noticed that they are mostly, if not only, samples of the overlays, right?
Okay.
You are never actively on camera explaining what you did and how you did it and how others can use it. Is there a reason behind that?
You mean like explaining how they can use it?
I really mean just you showing yourself on camera more. That's
Right.
like, we're talking to other people, other successful creators.
Gotcha.
Most of the time, building trust and building their sustainable sort of income is directly connected to their sort of face and presence.
Right.
That people trust not just the product and the quality of their products, but also trust the person. So whatever they release, because they know them, they like them, they identify with them in some way, they're going to buy more for them. Whereas in your case, I see quality products, a lot of downloads, but not that many, it seems, attachment or repeated purchases that would expect to come from email marketing.
Right. Yeah, that is one thing that I've thought about a lot. I'm not a big personality. Like it's never been my intention for me to show my face on YouTube because it's one of those things, everybody's self-conscious and I just don't see the point. But like you said, yeah, people, in order to build that trust, they do want, at least I feel like they do want to see, the person making them and kind of, build that trust with them and build that relationship with them. And so that is one thing that I've been thinking about lately. Like, should I start, introducing myself and say, hey, this is the new, overlay that I've made. This is how you use it and everything. I just haven't done that yet.
You really don't have to tell me about being self-conscious. A couple months ago, I wouldn't even think to be on the camera and recording a podcast with anybody, So believe me, I know what it means to be self-conscious. Yeah. But I strongly believe that when you said that I don't have much of a personality, I've known you not for very long, and I can already say that you have a great personality and knowing what you do and the passion you put into this, that's quality right there, I would love to see more of you showing how you do your work and what you do, because I think that would resonate with people a lot.
Yeah. I've had a lot of people comment and ask, how, the process of how I make the overlays, what you asked earlier, talking about the flashlight, shining in the camera. And so in my mind, the first time I was going to, make an appearance, I was going to make a tutorial video, like how I make the overlays, just kind of show people the process of that. And that's kind of when I was going to make my first appearance and everything. And I have actually started working on that video. I've got bits and pieces put together. I'm working on everything, but it'll be a little bit longer before it's finished. But
do you feel like it could be giving away your trade secrets a little bit, or no, or rather happy to help?
Right. Yeah. So that was my thinking when I very first thought about it. I was like, well, I don't want to tell people how to make their own because, I want people to come and buy it from me. But I think it's just going to be one of those things, the time that goes into it, people aren't going to want to, take that time for themselves to make it and to put it all together and everything. And, over the, like I said, I've been doing this for a couple of years now. And so I've got elements from when I first started that sometimes I'll still use. And so I'm not having to every single time start, with the flashlight and the camera and everything. I can use old, elements to make new things.
Yeah.
And I think people just, they want to pay for convenience. They can buy it and have the finished product right now instead of, spending a few hours of their own time making the overlay than to use for their product. So yeah, my thought process has kind of shifted from, well, I don't want to give away my secrets to, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal if I show people how I make them, because they're paying for convenience.
I totally agree. And I think from my conversations with people, this is exactly what I see. You sort of show your expertise, like this is how you can make it. You don't have to pay me anything. You can do it. But if you want to take a shortcut, I can provide you one for just a couple dollars, and that's
Right.
that's
Yeah.
that's a secret in it. You're a person that is into filmmaking, and that's your passion, right? So what is your
Right.
thought of the short format handheld videos that overtake us these days? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you consider yourself as a person that might use them one day?
Right. Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. I think it's just kind of where, things have headed, everybody holds their phone, vertically. So I think it's more natural to shoot video that way now,
Yeah.
in this day and age. But I think whenever it comes to like the true filmmakers, like you go to the movies, everything's horizontal, so I think everybody's still, whenever they make a nice, polished, edited film, I think it's always going to be horizontal. But I think the vertical handheld stuff is more just for like social media and everything, which I do still feel like there's a place for, my overlays with that. But I just don't think people use them as much.
Would you put yourself and your content on those type of platforms, or you would rather stick to YouTube?
I mean, I don't have any problem putting them on those platforms. But I think right now, like my main focus is just to stick with the traditional stuff. I think that seems to be where most people are using my overlays anyway. So I could be wrong in that, but
No, I'm asking because I see a lot of traffic coming from vertical reels, and they are maybe not great for building community. You mentioned that at the community of
right.
people on YouTube, the comments, from my experience, TikToks or reels, they don't bring much community, but they bring a lot more eyes on content than that YouTube doesn't. YouTube is more long term, right? You have search optimization. People are more, when they look for your stuff and they see your stuff, they are probably more interested in your stuff already. It's like much further down in the funnel that we talked about. But on Reels, you can have hundreds of thousands of views from people who may not know about you or even the technique, but may be interested in what you have. So I just I was wondering whether you consider it as a acquisition channel rather than sales channel of any sort, just to get more eyeballs on your amazing stuff, basically.
Yeah. And I have, for a very brief period, I did upload some stuff on TikTok, and it did, like you said, it got a lot of eyeballs and everything. There's a lot of views on it. But I didn't really see a whole lot of sales out of it. And again, it's, I'm not all about sales. Like I do want to build a community and everything, but I don't know. At that point in time, I didn't see that it was working real well. So I didn't pursue that any further, but not to say it would be something for the future. Definitely.
And when you mention community, what do you mean by that? Like, how would you build a community? How would it look like in your case?
So I see a lot of other YouTube channels that I follow, and they're very, the YouTuber is very engaged with the comments, or, they might hold like, I don't know, like a workshop or something. And I like just that interaction between the YouTuber and the audience. And that's kind of what I want to do. But like you said, I don't show my face on YouTube right now. So I feel like it's one of those things, they don't really know me, but literally every single comment that people make on my YouTube channel, I'll make sure I respond to it, and not just a quick, hey, thanks, but, a more thought out, comment, a genuine comment, I guess, to respond to them. And so that's right now how I'm kind of trying to build that community. And I think it's working. It's just working slowly. But yeah, I think if I did decide to introduce myself, then that might help it a little bit more. But
that's also why I'm asking, because that also gave me thought. You mentioned that you don't know how to use email marketing, what to do with email marketing. And I when I think about email marketing, the good kind of email marketing, not just spam, that e-commerce companies send to you every week. We have a discount on this and discount on that. Great, sure. But when it comes to building actual community, like the newsletter sphere exploded in the last few years because it's just much more than just a sales pitch that someone does, but it's a community building thing. People sharing the stuff that they made, the stuff that they learned. And what I'm thinking is, this is much more sustainable channel to build a community, because you actually have contact to people, right? If someone comments on your video, you cannot go back to them a week later and contact them directly to tell them a thing or two. But
Right.
because the interaction happens just in that moment in the comment section underneath the video. Whereas in email, you have the list, as you mentioned, of people who are sort of attached to you, whether they just because bought a product or they like you. That would be a great tool to build community, don't you think?
Yeah, I do think that. I guess the thing I struggle with as far as email marketing, what do I say every time? Because like you said, I don't want it to be spammy. I don't want it to, every time they get an email from me, it's me trying to push or sell a new product onto them. And so, yeah, that's been my struggle. Like, because I've heard, you should be sending emails on a regular basis. And I'm just like, well, what do I say, every time? What's something that is going to make them want to open their email and read from me, every single time I send an email. And so that's kind of what I struggle with that right now. I just don't know what to say to people.
I get it. And when you go through the YouTube comments that you're getting, do you feel like maybe you could convert the comments that you give to people or the answers that you give them or the questions or requests that they have and convert them into a written newsletter format? Is there enough there?
Yeah, I think there would be enough there. I mean, at least to get started.
I tend to find that asking people is often the best way, Very often myself, I ask an audience, what do you want to see? What do you want to hear? And I get a reply. Like we communicated over email, right? You send a response to my email and you told me literally what you would like to hear, what you would like to see. And I find that there is a lot of value in that. And exploring your audience and understanding your audience and then responding to them, I think that's a great way to engage and build a community, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. So you think I should email them and just ask, what questions you have or what kind of overlays would you guys like to see, that type of stuff?
Why not? I mean, email is a two-way communication street. That's the value of it, right? It's not just posting a quick TikTok and then hoping for something else in crickets. But you can expect people to engage with you. And I think people seeing the value that you provide and the quality of your work, they would like to learn from you. They would like to see more of your process and more of your stuff. I know I would.
Hey, I'll give it a shot.
What do you think about this year, about 2023? Any goals that you would like to achieve? Would you like to quit your job already this year, or you give yourself some more time?
I would love to quit my job this year. Yeah. And I say that now, hopefully my boss won't watch this podcast when it comes out. Yeah, that would be a great goal because, it goes back to family a lot too. The kids are growing up. My oldest, she's 11 now. And, I want to spend time with them when they're still little. I want to grow up with them and everything. So I would love to be able to, quit this year. And I do have goals. Like I said, the email marketing is a big goal. I want to, do more with that and see how that works. Maybe this will be the year when I finally do, show my face on YouTube and kind of introduce myself, and we'll see how that goes as well. So
I think both me and the audience watching would definitely like to see that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Would you mind a little so-called quick fire round of questions? You know how it goes. Quick questions, quick answers. I would like to get your some thoughts, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's go. Team player or lone wolf?
Oh, is both an answer?
Sure thing.
Because I do. I like working on my own. Like I'm an introvert, and so I just enjoy that alone time and being focused and not having distractions and everything. But then I do like, the community part of it. I like thinking that, I am helping, a community of people. And so I like that part of it as well too. So both.
Taking risks or calculating carefully?
Whenever it comes to these overlays, taking risks. I like to see what works and what doesn't. And if it's a risk that backfires, then, I feel like, I've still got my main income from my full-time job. So, it's not going to put me in a financial bind or anything like that.
Mobile or desktop?
Desktop.
Who inspires you most?
Oh, who inspires me most? Man, that's a good question. I mean, it's got nothing to do with video stuff, but, I like Walt Disney. Walt Disney, he was just the creative, brain that he had, and wanting to just create new things all the time. Like, he inspires me a lot. Yeah.
What is a business tool that you find is often underappreciated and you couldn't live without?
A business tool. Probably just, my good old laptop. My laptop is, it's 2012, so it's several years old. But it does a great job. I think everybody wants the latest and greatest, especially with YouTube. Everybody thinks they need to have the best camera that they have, but I'm still rocking stuff that's 10 years old and it's working fine. So I think just older equipment still works fine. You don't always need the latest and greatest.
And what does success mean to you?
Success means just, reaching your goals, whatever your goals might be. It's never like a number unless, that money number is your goal. I think success is just hitting your goals, just making a goal, working towards that, and hitting that goal.
Lastly, are you a morning person or a night owl?
Definitely a morning person.
That's a tricky question.
Yeah, my wife is the complete opposite. She'll be the one that, stays up till 11 o'clock or midnight every night, and I'm in bed no later than 10. So,
for those watching us, you should know that we're recording it at 5 a.m. for David's time, so he's definitely a morning person. Is it something you do daily? Like, is that your routine?
No. I will say I did wake up early, for this. So I woke up about 4:30 this morning. But normally I don't wake up quite that early. But yeah, I wake up about 6 in the morning.
I very much appreciate you waking up a little bit earlier today to join me.
Yeah. Hey, I'm glad I could do it.
And I hope that you will hit your goals. And I hope we'll talk more about them. And I hope that. I hope that you'll quit your job. I hope your boss won't see it, but it's a great goal to have.
And if he does see it, oh well. As long as I can hit my goals, I'd be fine with that.
I think if he's a good boss, he will understand goals that people have. It's quite natural. Thank you so much for joining, David. It was great talking with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm a huge fan of David, and I'm happy to say that since we spoke, he actually started showing his face and building his personal brand a little bit more, which you can see on his YouTube channel. We can all do better and grow, and I want to grow this podcast and make it even better, and hopefully I can get your help with that. So please share your feedback, share the podcast, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.